In the dense, mysterious woods of an undisclosed military training ground, a platoon of soldiers found themselves on a mission that would haunt their nightmares for years to come. The forest was a labyrinth of shadows, the trees standing as silent sentinels under the moonlit sky. The soldiers, brave and hardened men, moved cautiously, their eyes straining to penetrate the darkness that surrounded them. But it was the fog that pervaded this place, a thick, opaque blanket that seemed to have a life of its own. It clung to the trees, flowed over the ground, and swallowed everything in its path, creating an eerie, otherworldly landscape. The silence was palpable, broken only by the soft crunch of leaves under their boots, the occasional snap of a twig, and the steady rhythm of their breathing. It was as if the woods held its breath, waiting, watching. Leading the platoon was Captain Markham, a man known for his courage and resolve. But tonight, unease gnawed at his gut, a feeling he couldn't shake off. He radioed headquarters, his voice cutting through the silence like a knife. The response was a crackle of static, the words lost in a sea of white noise. The lack of clear communication added to the unease, the tension that hung heavy in the air. The soldiers pressed on, their senses heightened, their bodies alert to every sound, every movement. Each one of them could feel it. Something was amiss. It was more than just the fog or the silence. It was an instinct, a primal fear that something was lurking in the shadows, unseen but not unfelt. As the hours wore on, the fog grew denser. It swirled around them, obscuring their vision, making the trees appear as spectral figures. It was as if the forest was closing in on them, the fog, its ghostly arms reaching out to embrace them. And then, as night fell, the fog grew even denser. It swallowed the moon, the stars, the trees, the soldiers. It swallowed their fears, their uncertainties, their very existence. It swallowed everything, leaving behind nothing but an oppressive silence and an impenetrable darkness. As night fell, the fog grew denser, swallowing everything in its ghostly embrace. It started with a subtle rustle, like the faint whisper of the wind through the branches. The soldiers dismissed it at first, attributing it to the natural sounds of the forest. The rustle was soft, almost soothing, a gentle lullaby sung by Mother Nature herself. But as the fog grew denser, it morphed into something far more sinister. The whispers, they were subtle at first, a soft murmur barely audible above the crunch of leaves beneath their boots. Each soldier began to hear their name, whispered as though from a great distance. A chill would run down their spine as they paused, straining their ears to catch the elusive sound again. The murmurs would cease momentarily, only to return with a vengeance, this time revealing secrets and fears that only they were privy to. Personal, intimate details that had been locked away in the deepest recesses of their minds were now being aired out in the open, spoken by unseen lips in the fog. The whispers escalated, the gentle murmuring replaced by chilling laughter and fragmented conversations. The soldiers, their nerves frayed, could only listen in terrified silence as the voices grew louder, more insistent. They spoke of events that hadn't been shared, of loved ones long gone, of comrades who had fallen on distant battlefields. The voices knew them, knew their lives, their stories, their regrets. The fog thickened, swallowing the trees and the soldiers in its ghostly embrace. The whispers became a chorus, a cacophony of voices that echoed through the silence. The laughter turned cruel, the conversations filled with malice. Each word, each syllable was a twist of the knife, a reminder of their own mortality. It was as though the fog had come alive, had a mind of its own. It toyed with them, used their secrets, their fears against them. The whispers were no longer just whispers. They were a haunting melody, a symphony of terror that played on a loop, each note more terrifying than the last. The fog seemed to play tricks on their minds, distorting reality and weaving a tapestry of horror. The whispers, the voices, the laughter, the conversations, they were all part of the fog now, a nightmarish reality that the soldiers found themselves entrapped in. Suddenly, shadows emerged from the fog, indistinct figures that danced at the edge of perception. These apparitions, cloaked in the dense fog, seemed to taunt the soldiers, their forms shimmering in and out of view like a mirage. The soldiers' eyes strained in the dim light. Their hearts pounded as they tried to make sense of what they saw. Captain Markham, his voice thick with trepidation, ordered a retreat. But the fog, as if sentient, seemed to resist their departure, wrapping around them like a cold, damp blanket. It was as if they were wading through a nightmare, every step heavier than the last. The soldiers stumbled over unseen obstacles, their feet betraying them on the treacherous forest floor. The voices, now a cacophony in their ears, echoed louder, their tone mocking, their laughter chilling. They were no longer whispers in the fog, but a sinister chorus reverberating through the forest. It was as if the forest itself conspired against them, trapping them in a malevolent embrace. Weeks later, a search party found the deserted military training ground. The evidence of a hasty retreat was clear, but of the soldiers themselves, there was no trace. An eerie silence enveloped the area, a chilling reminder of the platoon that had vanished without a trace. The soldiers' disappearance morphed into an enigma that sent ripples of unease through the military ranks. Theories abounded, but none could explain the chilling whispers, the shadowy figures, or the inexplicable fear that had driven seasoned soldiers to panic. The mystery remained unsolved, a chilling testament to the unknown dangers that lurked within the foggy woods. Over time, the cursed forest became the stuff of legends. Whispers of spectral voices and ghostly apparitions spread, warning those who dared to venture into the foggy depths. The soldiers were never seen again, leaving behind only whispers in the fog and an unsolved mystery that haunted the woods for generations.